So, when drafting in SpatialNet, one of the first things we have to do is, drafting structure that is we have to create an offset of 10 feet from behind the parcel line, as that's the new Comcast standard. So, what I like to do is, here we have a blank set of land base. Here is my right-of-way line, or my edge of my parcel here. So, I'm just going to create a P-line that traces right to the edge of this parcel line. And what this is going to do, this is going to give me a location to begin my offset from. We're going to draft this way and then north. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that parcel line there. And then I'm going to start this parcel line here for drafting. So let me go and finish this up. And we're going to go ahead and stop right there. So now that I got those parcels, or those P-lines drafted, I am now going to offset. I simply just type in O, enter. Ask me what my length is going to be. I'm going to do 10 feet. I select the parcel. I move my mouse down, then I left click again, and voila. Now it will repeat the command, so if you need to do another one, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to select this one. 10 feet is saved from last time. And I'm going to click over there. So basically what we have here now is we have a good tracing line that we can use to draft our new structure. I'm going to delete the original line. Okay, so now we are ready to begin our drafting. So, if you go up to your ribbon up here, there's 3 tabs that you should see. One is the SpatialNet tab, the Add tab, and the Admin tab. So since we're adding, I'm going to click on the Add tab and go over to Underground Structure, or Pole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an aerial pole line and then transfer to an underground section. So first thing I'm going to place is a pole. I go ahead and click it. Oh, I got a database here. Hold on, let me try it one more time. I'm going to go ahead and click the pole. Let's see if it reconnected here. There we go. Okay, so on the type, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a common joint pole here. I don't have a pole number, but if you do have one, it doesn't hurt to place it in there. Under these generals, I'm not going to edit any of those, but what I will do is this down here. If you notice these custom attributes here, has a ground. If it doesn't, I'm going to double click this and hit the blank. Does it have a bond? I will not place one. Is there a make ready for it? No. And the enter drop code, I'm going to go ahead and hit that. And enter the pole type, I'm going to clear that out as well. So now that I got my attributes all set up, I now click on the screen once to activate the window. And now I'm going to place my pole kind of as close as that line as possible. If it gives you this warning here about duplicate pole found, just hit yes. The reason why it's saying that is because I have checked for duplicates over here and the pole number is blank. And as you can imagine, there's probably a lot of blank pole numbers. Okay, so alright, so here we go. Now we have our first pole. I'm going to grab this guy. Whoops. This is a good error here. I just clicked on the window again. What that's going to do is it's going to place another pole, and I don't want to do that. So hit no. I'm going to okay, we can adjust it later. So first pole is placed. Now what you can do is you can continue on and place the poles now, and then come back and place the strand. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to not do that and show you how to add structure from an existing piece of equipment and then place new as you go. So I'm going to hit close here. I'm also going to leave that line there. I'm going to select my pole. I'm going to add, and this time I'm going to select strand. So then your strand creation window comes up. The type is going to be aerial strand. Constructor stays the same. Plant owner, you can go ahead and place it on Comcast, because technically it's always going to be Comcast. And so I'm doing now, I'm just going to simply hit add. Now there are 2 ways to do this. One, you can add the length now if you know the length, but there is one catch when doing that. What SpatialNet does is that when you place a length here, when you start drafting, it'll stop exactly where that number is, where that length is, and it will not go any farther, so you can't see exactly where you're placing the pole. So I'm going to leave it blank, and I'll show you what I mean on the next link. So I'm going to hit add. And so here you can kind of see our line. Now, had we added the length in there, it would have stopped right there if it was like 75 feet. And then you wouldn't see the line as we see now. So here, the linear capture lines window comes up. And here you can also place length too in case you forgot to add it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my O snap off so I'm not snapping anything. I'm going to place my pole right about here. And you want this to be 10 feet also off the edge of the parcel. So if you kind of find a nice even spot here. Now when you find your spot, don't left click, but right click. And a little arrow menu will pop up. And select your joint pole again. Right now, let's go ahead and it's adding it. See all these extra attributes that popped up? That would have all popped up over here had we not changed those settings. So now I'm gonna go ahead and place another pole right here. And if you notice, I am placing the new structure on the same side of the parcel lines. Now Comcast does not want you to place the pole on the line like sometimes we're kind of used to, splitting the parcels here. So I'm just choosing to place it on the left side of the parcel here. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to not left click, but right click. Joint pole. And I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to close this out. So now we're left with these 3 new poles that we've added. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to edit these attributes so all this stuff goes away. So I'm going to select the pole, go up to edit. Then your pole modification window comes up. I'm going to come all the way down here and make those same edits. I'm going to double click and choose the blank. Hit apply. And hopefully almost all those should go away. Yes, I do want to continue. Now if you don't want that window to come up, you can check for duplicates off. But beware, when you uncheck it here, it leaves it unchecked for everything else you do. Like if you add an active or a splice case, it won't check to see if that splice case is existing. So, alright, I'm going to hit close. Now I'm going to select this one. I'm going to edit this. Okay, come down here. And yes, this is tedious. But this is a bug that they supposedly were supposed to fix in this new version of SpatialNet, but I haven't been able to see it fixed yet. So, alright. So now we have our 3 poles and our 3 house counts here. I'm also now going to move these house counts out of the street, just so they're not in the middle of the street. And I will not be over, like I won't place it here or here on the parcel line. I'm placing it to where I don't overstrike any of those parcel lines. Alright, so now the last thing we got to do is add our footage. So go ahead and select the strand, edit, strand modification comes up. I'm just going to do 125 feet. Hit apply. Hit close. I'm going to select the next one. Edit. I'm going to do 125 again. Actually, no, I'm going to change this to 130 just so we can see a little difference here. Okay. And then there we are. We are good to go. And then once again, I'm going to go and select the footage and I'm going to move it to this other side here without overstriking any of the parcel lines if I can help it. Alright, so there we go. Now, I'm going to transition to an underground structure now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the pad, or the pole, excuse me. And what I first need to do is add a riser to this pole. So by selecting the pole, I hit edit. And under general here, I'm going to click edit. And the general attributes comes up. Once you add a riser length of 25 here, hit done, and then hit apply. A little riser module should pop up here. Yes, duplicate, because I got that checked. And there you go. There's our riser. I'm going to close. Click on here, move it here so it's out of the way. Now we got our riser. Okay. Now I'm going to select the pole that I want to continue off of, and this time I'm going to add, and I'm going to choose trench instead of strand. So here is our trench creation window. I'm going to move out here a little bit. And what we choose here is always going to be conduit trench. Underground trench is considered direct buried, in which we don't do that anymore. So conduit trench, same thing applies here. So I'm actually going to show you here in the length what spatial net does if you put a length and you try to draft past that length. So I'm going to put a length of, let's say, 25. Okay, and then there's one thing that I do that necessarily isn't in the instructions for from Comcast, but it helps when you have to change direction and add an underground tick mark. And what that is, I'm going to create a duct for this conduit trench. So I'm going to click on the ducts tab, click on create ducts, uncheck add cross section, and typical underground structure is 1 inch, or sorry, a 2-inch pipe. So I'm going to select the duct type, go to PVC, go to duct size, and hit 2-inch. And I'm going to go ahead and hit add. So, as you can see here, our length was 25, and according to Spatial Net, that is 25 feet right there, and then it stops. And so it's really difficult, and once you hit that angle, if you even if you click here, it's going to draft it all the way up here, because it's going to keep that same angle. So this is one issue that this has if you put the length in. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to remove the length. Click back over here and now we have free reign. So I'm going to select probably right around here. I'm going to place a ped right here. So just same thing, you kind of don't left click, but right click. And this time you see two options, you see aerial and underground. Well, we're going to place an underground ped. It's going now see those attributes again. We're gonna have to go back and edit those attributes just like we did with the poles. Alright, so I'm gonna continue on. This time I'm gonna try to line it up as much as I can with this, and what I just did here was I turned my O snap on and I snapped at the end, and then it gives me like a draft line to follow along. So I'm there and I'm gonna click there. Now actually, I'm going to undo that because I don't want to left click. What I want to do is find this spot right there. I'm going to right click, underground, conduit tick. Now, had I not added those ducts, we would get an error from Spatial Net there, which is why I added those ducts. Okay, so now we're going to continue on, which should give us a nice linear draft line here. So I'm going to come up to here. I'm going to add a ped right about here. Okay, underground, pedestal. And this is actually lining up really nice for us here. Alright, and then I'm going to go up to here and add my last ped. Notice that I picked this side of the parcel. If I was going to be adding multiple more peds, then I'll be picking this side of the parcel as I go down. So I'll select it here, I'll place it here, and I'll place it here. Keep it consistent throughout. But what I'm not doing is overstriking the parcel line. So in this case, I would either place the ped here, or in this case, the ped will be placed here, especially since it's an end-of-line ped. So this will be where the exception would happen. So I'm going to right-click, underground, and pedestal, and that will be our last one. So after adds, I'm going to hit done and close. Now clean up. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to select this guy, hit edit. Underground modification comes up. Here you can change this to a vault if you need to, or any other of these underground structures. Nothing else really needs to change here, but if you go to Custom Attributes tab, this looks very familiar, as just those are the same ones as the pole had. So I'm going to double click this guy, hit the blank one, hit the blank attribute for all these options, unless of course you need to place a ground or a bond. Then you would hit yes, and then it would leave this ground or bond symbol on there. I change all that, hit apply. Yes. And there we go. So now I'm gonna close out of here. Select this one, edit. And unfortunately, Spatial Net does have a multi-edit option. So if you want to select the same entities, you can edit. You can do that. But for these custom attributes, it doesn't allow that. So that's why I can't select all the pads and do a big multi-edit, because it just doesn't have that built in. So I'm gonna go back to custom attributes and do the same thing here. Hit apply. Yes. Close out. And on to our last one. As you can see, if you have multiple pads, this can be very, very time consuming. Yes. Okay, close, and there we go. And now we have our, it's cleaned up a bit. I'm gonna now clear my selection here. And now we don't need this offset line anymore. So I'm gonna delete that one and delete that one. Now I'm gonna edit the placement of these. I tend to tuck it in right here in the left corner, because if you do a fiber line, which is gonna be drafted on this side, I believe it fits perfectly right here and it drafts right down. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. In this case, it's going to be like right here. Okay, so now the last thing we put in is our footages. So I'm going to clear selection again. I'm going to select this first pad. I'm going to edit. Or the first trench line, excuse me. Length, I'm going to give this a length of 100. Hit apply. There we go. I'm going to select this guy, edit. I'm going to get it a length of 25. Okay, I'm going to select this guy, edit. Give this a length of 200. Okay, I'm going to select this guy and edit and give it the same length of, I'm going to say 215, just so we can have a little difference here. Close out. Alright, so now we're going to take these footages and move them to below the contour line without overstriking the parcels. That one's right there, that one's good. And there we go. I believe we have our structure in place.